Alright guys, I am back, and now we're on to the blue transmitter from GD Broadcast. So this transmitter, I would say in the past, this transmitter was the best of the GD Broadcast series, of all of their transmitters. So actually, this was, now actually I failed to do a review on this one in the past. I should have, because this was like the only actual good GD Broadcast transmitter in my opinion, at least in the past. Right now, I'm not, don't take those claims now, because of course they are improving things, like they just improved the red transmitter. But anyway, in the past though, this was the only transmitter from them that I really did like, actually. And so this transmitter has the Quintic chip in it. It has the QN8007, the 8007. Which is, if you're not aware, the best single chip FM broadcast transmitter, right? So, this should be a very good sounding transmitter. It should have reasonably good spectral performance as well. Of course, it's going to have some phase noise close to the carrier, because that's something that the Quintic chips tend to have. But we're going to see, if it's prohibitively bad or if there's any other issues with it. Now, before I do that, we should take a look at the back of the transmitter, because there's something interesting. So if we take a look at the back, hopefully there's enough lighting, guys, for you to see this. But if you take a look at the back, you can see that we've got two audio jacks. We've got a microphone jack and a line input. Then we have a USB port there. That's for, like plugging in a USB stick with MP3 files on it. But then lastly, and most importantly, we have this RS-232. I believe it's an RS-232. It says RDS input, right? And so that is very interesting to me, because the earlier version of this transmitter that I had did not have that serial port on the back. And, I really like that addition, because that now means that you can probably control the RDS via a PC, so long as the PC, of course, has a serial port. You could also get like a serial to USB adapter, if you wanted to use it with USB. I would like to comment, though, for the company themselves. If you're from GD Broadcast and you're watching this video, if you work there or if you're in sales or whatever, I'd just like to ask you, post down in the comments below if you're from GD Broadcast and you know how to program this RDS port. Is there some kind of software package that you guys have, or a driver or something like that that will allow me to, hook up an actual serial port there and get it to work with a PC? Because see, I wasn't sent anything in regards to that, and I did not find anything on your pages online, so I'm not sure exactly how that works. So if you guys can comment down below and let me know how that can function. By the way, guys, I am a software engineer, so if you have not actually developed software for this port yet, and you need something, I could potentially do that for you. I've been developing Windows software for a very long time. So if you could, give me some data as to what the pinout is and, how that works. Maybe it's just a normal serial port. Maybe it's something proprietary. I don't know. But anyway, let's get to using this. So I'm going to be testing this transmitter in two different ways. I'm going to test it with the power supply that they sent with it. And then I'm also going to test it with my own Meanwell power supply, just to see, are there any differences or whatnot. Also, because the power supply that they sent me is 1 amp too little for this one. So I believe this thing says it needs 6 amps. Yeah, it needs 6 amps, and this power supply is only 5 amps. So I think I'm going to give it a try. But if it's not sufficient, then I'll use my own power supply for this one. By the way, I should say though that in the last transmitter video I did with the red transmitter, this power supply was certainly sufficient for that one. Okay, so let's plug it in. All right, the power is ramping up. All right, oh wow, 16 watts. Hopefully this power supply can handle it. Let me feel the wire. Yeah, okay, it's not getting too warm. All right. What do we have here? All right, so it looks like we're getting 12 watts. Yeah. We're getting 12 watts there. Well, okay, so definitely not 16, guys. Definitely not 16. Although, I'm not going to say that yet because I'm not using a power supply that, is super great. So, that could be part of the issue. Anyway, let's take a look at the spectrum here. That is not too bad just yet. Let's just see. Okay. Let's do a peak CF now. As you can see, there is a harmonic there. But the harmonic is not too bad. I would say, it's roughly about the same as on the other transmitter. On the red transmitter. It's about the same. So, yeah, it's a harmonic. It's not too bad, though. It's all right. Not the greatest, but not horrible either. So, let's see here. Let's zoom in on the carrier. Let's do a span in here. Okay, so far, I just want to point out that so far, this is looking pretty good. We do have a little bit of noise going on here, but that is the typical Quintic noise, okay? And it's not too high. Let me just feel this cable. Yeah, no, that's not too bad. What about the power supply itself? Oh yeah, no, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. So let's see here. Let's keep spanning in. Okay. We'll keep... I hate how I have to keep peak CFing and then spanning again, because it loses... the marker kind of goes off center there. And I have to continue doing that. Yeah, okay. So it looks like... Yeah, okay, so we've got our main carrier. We've got the 19 kilohertz and then the 38 kilohertz. It looks like we also have RDS. I think that's what this thing is. Yeah. These are the RDS. So I suppose that means that the RDS must be turned on. Let's take a look at this. Because, see, I should point out that I actually made a mistake. I made a mistake in one of my previous videos on the PCS transmitter. It was actually the PCS transmitter that has the QN8007 in it, the same chip that's in this device. I made a mistake and actually said that the RDS on the spectrum analyzer was a spur. That's not the case. That's RDS. It's not a spur. So it looks like this one is also putting out RDS. So let's take a look at the options we have. So we've got number 1, power setting. Number 2, frequency setting. Number 3, stereo or mono. Number 4, preemphasis. Number 5, our input. Number 6 is volume. Number 7 is frequency step. That's nice that you can change that. Number 8 is RF set to on. Number 9 is RDS on. Okay. And then we've got, I guess, oh yeah, okay, so our deviation. That's nice. Okay, that I like that. I really appreciate having that. You know, especially on such a small screen, you know, it's hard to have a bar graph, but having this, that's beautiful. You know, now does it work properly? I don't know, but it's really nice to have that. All right, and then we got our temperature and our reflected power. And then we go back to the beginning. All right, so let's see here. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Let's first change the stereo to mono, and we'll take a look and see how that makes the spectrum look. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, the 19 kilohertz and the 38 just went away. Although we can still see that there's RDS there, right? So now let's go turn off the RDS. Because actually, you know, given that we don't have the ability to easily, you know, I don't have a serial port and I don't have the software to communicate with this device via the computer. And so the RDS, it's pointless to have it on, right? Unless you're actually going to set it up truly, right? So let's turn off the RDS because it is pointless having it on. And it's just cluttering up the spectrum more. So let's turn it off. And let's see if that, yeah, that definitely did improve things a bit. But we do still have a little bit of something going on over here. And I'm noticing the carrier is bumping around like, yeah, see, it's moving a fair bit. That is definitely moving around more than a normal Quintic chip. Okay, it's like that should not be bumping around like that. It's calibrating, of course. Okay, so yeah, let's span in a little more because I want to see truly how much is it bumping around here. Yeah, see that? See how that's... Look at how much that's wiggling around. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That is definitely not like the normal Quintic's nature. So it's not normally that bad. Yeah, okay, so here we go again. It's like they're clearly not filtering the power supply well enough or something. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing wrong here, but that's not looking so great. Let us see if we're getting noise. Are we hearing that? Oh. Yeah, we're definitely hearing that. Oh my God. Is that really it? Alright, gotta turn down that volume. Man, that is loud. Oh, no, no, no. It's set to 90. That's what the problem is. Oh my God. Okay, it's set to 90. Okay, let's fix this up and set it to 87.9, you know, because that's what I always do. You know, it was just set to 90 by default, and I didn't change it. So let's do that. 87.9. There we go. Okay, so I believe now that I changed the frequency, I'm probably going to have to change the power output. Yeah, it set it to 0. So I'm going to have to increase this. Yeah, see, it's doing that thing again where it's like you really have to give it a good spin. If you don't, it won't do anything. So give it a good spin. And we'll see what happens here. Alright. So 16 watts according to them, and 87.9. And of course, mono, line, and RDS off. Yeah, okay. Oh, there's our temperature. And there we are. All right, so let us go back on the spectrum analyzer again. There it is. Okay. So let's do a peak CF, and let's span in. Let's see if it's still wiggling around here. Yeah, I mean, it is wiggling a little bit, but not as much. Yeah, it's not as bad. Huh. Here it looks like it's wiggling a fair amount, though. See that? All right, let's take a look and see if we can actually hear that. Do we actually hear that? Oh, there's a slight hiss. Then again, see, I wish I hadn't altered the volume, because now it's not a good comparison. Dang. You know, to compare in contrast to the red transmitter, right? It's like I had it set to that. You can hear there's a slight hiss. And a kind of like ee. So there is a little bit of a noise. Yeah, there is a little noise. All right, I have an idea. Turn that off. And let's try something out. So, you know, I'm currently using the power supply that came with the device. Okay, the one that they sent. We're putting out about, 12 watts, just like before, as to be expected. So let's try using the Meanwell power supply now. So I'm going to unplug it. Alright, so I unplugged it. And we are now going to hook up the Meanwell power supply. And I believe, yes, it's this one. So let's do this and hope for the best. Ah, scheisse. It's a different size. Ah, dang. Really? Really? Yeah, I guess it is. The one that they sent has a bigger hole in the middle of it. But it's very slight. Oh, that sucks, dude. That really sucks. Well, God. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna use the BK Precision. Let's do that. Let's go all the way with this and use a really good quality. Let's use this one, all right? I'm gonna have to get it set up for you guys though, so let me pause this and I'll be right back. All right, so here we go. I got it set up, 13.5 volts, just to give it a little bit of extra power. And now this is a really clean power supply, so we'll see if this improves things. So let's plug this in, and I tested, by the way, this connector does fit. So let's get it plugged in. Oh, the fan sounds stronger. All right, we got 87.9, just like before. And there goes the power. Ah, okay, 18. Now, I'm sure we're not actually getting 18. Let's take a look. What are we getting? 14. Okay, we're getting 14. So we're getting one watt less than its rating. We're getting 14. Okay, we're getting 14. Oh, do you guys see that back there? Do you see that back there? What's going on with that guy? What is going on with that guy? Look at that. What is it doing? This is a much better power supply. Why would it be doing that? What? All right, let me take a listen to it. Do we hear that? Do we hear that on the air? Let's see if we can hear this on the air. Oh yeah. It's worse. That's so weird. Hear it? That ee. Okay, I don't know what to say. Well, I guess what I would say is use the power supply that they send with it. And I would say, guys, if you're having trouble with these transmitters, just tell the company, send me a power supply. Just get your power supplies from them. Don't get a power supply elsewhere, because I don't know what is going on here, but like every power supply that I test with these transmitters seem to make them terrible. But it's like the one that they send makes it a lot better. It's weird because it's actually a far lower end power supply. It's like a weird, China brand power supply. Whereas this is a BK Precision. So it's like, I'm not sure what's going on here. This is just so weird. Yeah, it's moving around a lot more. Let's see if the spurs look worse. Do they? No, they don't. That's looking really good. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's not bad at all. So it definitely doesn't have, like, a lot of spurious or something like that. It does not. Yeah, that's looking good. It's got, a little bit of a harmonic, but it's not too bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not too bad. But I don't know. I don't know what to say about the power supply thing. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me, just in case there's some sort of weird randomness of the universe, I'm going to try going back and hooking up that one old power supply again, the one that they sent with it. I'm going to hook that one up again, and I'm just going to see, does it still do the same thing again if I do it again? Okay. Is it better? All right, let me peek CF. Okay. So, we can clearly see that it's wiggling around a fair bit. Okay, it's wiggling around a fair bit. Let's unplug this. And let me use the one that they sent with it. All right, so here's the one they sent. All right, so here's the one they sent. Yeah, you can hear the fan is a little slower. So it's warming up. All right, 16. And we should have 12. Yep. Okay. And what do we have? Yeah, okay. You know what? I suppose it's still wiggling around a fair amount. It still kind of is. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's take a listen. Yeah, okay, so there's a little bit of noise, but keep in mind, that's with the volume all the way up. Okay, with the volume turned down, you shouldn't really hear much. You shouldn't hear much. But, you know, it definitely is more noisy than the Quintic is on its own, right? So, like, for example, if I were to compare this to the PCS Electronics version of their Quintic transmitter, right? That one does not have that same sort of noise in the background. It doesn't. So it's clear that even though both of these transmitters, this one and the one from PCS that I did a video on, you know, many months ago, they use the same QN8007, it's clear that the PCS version of that transmitter is much better than this one. It's like, so I guess overall, what I've kind of come to learn about these GD broadcast transmitters is that they don't filter their power supply well enough. There's not enough power supply filtering or amplifier filtering or whatever. That's like I think the big kicker with these things. I think that these transmitters would be fantastic if it just wasn't for that, right? It's like, you know, clearly, you know, the Quintic chip, I know it's a good chip, right? It should not be bumping around like this. So it's clear to me that, you know, I guess what I would say is my message to you guys at China Broadcast, okay, my message to you guys at GD Broadcast. Please improve the power supply filtering on your transmitter. You know, add additional capacitors or RF chokes or inductors or whatever on the power supply, you know, on the input for the power supply, to make it such that, you know, it's got a very clean signal, you know, so that way there's not going to be any buzz or noise in the background. And see, that's the primary thing that I'm noticing with all of your transmitters. It's like all of your transmitters, compared to any other transmitters that I've had, no matter what chip they have, whether it's this transmitter or this one or the other one, the red one I just tested, they all have a noticeable hiss or buzz or hum in the background. So it would be great if you guys could improve that, because otherwise I think this is a great transmitter. It's like, I think this is pretty good. It's just that one thing, that one little thing might be a deal killer for some people. You know, that's the issue. So, yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, leave a comment down below if there's anything you'd like me to test. Now, hopefully it'll be something relatively easy, because there's certain things I just can't do. But let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you would like me to do or to test. And, you know, also note to the China Broadcast Company, guys, please filter these transmitters better, right? It's clear, you know, the harmonic filtering is sufficient. It could be better, but it's sufficient. But what is not sufficient is the power supply filtering. So definitely improve that. So yeah, I think that's about all I wanted to say. All right, take care, guys. Bye.